This meeting is being recorded. Good morning, Mike. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm
All right.
wonderful. Sorry for being a little late.
Okay.
Morning. Called meeting to order. It's 9:12 a.m. And I have our agenda here that I will pull up for today. Any communications to report?
I have gotten none, interestingly enough, about the election.
Nor have I. So moving on, business items. Number one, review election outreach and communication strategies. We have, and I was talking to Lori this morning to confirm that we're going to get an election information forum on the agenda for April 8th. So she's going to have that added. I saw the draft version of the agenda didn't have that yet. So I think that's probably going to be right at the top of the meeting.
Yeah.
Question I think becomes, how do we want to promote the forum piece where we're inviting interested candidates or concerned citizens to come forward and ask questions about the upcoming election?
Yeah, good question.
I'm in favor of, for this in particular, because it is a school committee meeting and it's a school committee agenda item, that we would post this into, well, it's obviously going to be posted on the agenda itself, but perhaps we can both post it into the two Neighbors Connect pages within Facebook, where we know there are a lot of residents, as well as the BBRSD Facebook group, given that we're just kind of sharing an agenda item for our upcoming meeting.
Yeah, do we know all the Facebook groups, honestly?
No.
No. Okay.
I mean, we could also just kind of ask the committee to share it.
Yeah. Share it far and wide, wherever you
far
think.
and wide. I think it's a little bit of a different than the conversation we've had about information about how to run or encouraging people to run, that kind of stuff, I think, which is a little trickier, given that here we're just inviting people to come and basically have a Q&A session with the current members of the school committee about the role and, you know, maybe what it entails and the time it takes or things like that. I think that's more appropriate for us to, you know, proactively get out there.
Sounds good.
Okay. I guess I'll mention in this part too, because it's a communication. I did get confirmation from the Secretary of State's office that they received our vacancy letter, informing them that we will have all 6 seats on the agenda for, on the ballot in the November 2022 election. They indicated to me that there is correspondence forthcoming from the Secretary of State's office, not only to our regional district, but to all regional districts. And that will be coming in a matter of weeks. So I'm guessing that'll probably come to Christie by mail. And we will kind of stay on top of that and make sure we're ready to communicate the confirmed like nomination paper timeline and that kind of stuff once we get that correspondence back from the state. But they did confirm that they were in receipt of our letter, which was the piece that we will recall the school committee in the past failed to complete. So we're good there. We're official. We're on the ballot.
Finally done.
Done, sir. Done.
All right.
Next item is the elections timeline and key dates. And so I realized that last time we talked, we were looking at that kind of executive summary of it up here.
Yeah.
A couple times, but I wanted to just kind of pull down. That's actually outdated from the one this is not the current live version, but I wanted to look kind of into this more detailed thing and just make sure we haven't missed anything down here that the previous school committee member had provided. So we know some of these things are already completed, agreement on process and timeline. Election process overview to the public. So this is coming up in for our April meeting. I think as we talked about, Mike, I'm just going to kind of update this based on the conversations this committee has had since this document was originally proposed.
A lot of that we went over, I think 2 meetings ago as well, 2 full school committee meetings ago with our update.
So I think this larger document, Mike, wasn't necessarily meant, I mean, it's obviously open to the public, but wasn't meant to be what we put forward to the public.
Right.
So I think I don't necessarily see a reason to go into detailed changes to this right now, but I just want to make sure there's nothing big we missed.
Yeah.
In the process, you know. So
yeah, I think we covered most of it, but let's check it.
Yeah, state notification, we know that's done. We did copy that to the Boylston and Berlin town clerks. Also sent a copy of that to the two select boards in town.
Cool.
So here we've got us receiving nomination papers and instructions, says mid to late April. That is in line with what I was told by the Secretary of State's office last week. Clerk will post information about school committee seats. This will be also late April, so I think April becomes a little more of a higher activity time for us between both the forum and some of these activities.
Yeah, I'd say once you get that letter that they say is coming, probably they'll have some instruction in there what they want you to do for announcements, I would imagine.
Yeah, so if that comes before our meeting on the 8th, Mike, maybe we'll want to get together for an election subcommittee meeting before the 8th. But if
Yeah.
it's after, I'd just say we plan to have an election subcommittee meeting like maybe that second week of April, second, third week of April,
Yeah, so we can go over that. Yeah.
unless we get something sooner.
You keep saying the 8th, but do you mean the 5th? It's the 5th, right?
I don't know. Yeah, 5th.
I think it's the 5th.
Yeah, it's the 5th, you're right.
Yeah.
Well, we no longer have school committee meetings every week, so it's harder to keep track.
I was just thinking last night, like I forget what some people look like. Because I don't really communicate with them between meetings.
Right. At least not by face.
No.
Candidates collect signatures, that's all stuff later, yep. The nominations paper will be due at some point in July, once we get the information from the state. Once again, we're waiting on that. Certification, that's then. Yeah, look, so as far as I'm concerned, up to where we are today, even up through the summer, we've completed all of the tasks that are included in here and that we discussed at previous meetings, and that we're just now kind of waiting for confirmation from the state.
Yeah, I think we're in a pretty good spot.
Yep, I agree. And then we talked about the Q&A session. I mentioned I talked to Lori this morning. How much time do we think for that, Mike?
Originally, we were talking like 20 or 25 minutes.
I think that's probably right.
Yeah.
I think we also, we saw that open seat in Berlin where no one's stood up yet and offered
Nobody yet.
Take the seat. So that could end up being on the agenda for that meeting as well. I was thinking maybe, Mike, of creating just a really simple like JPEG image about this meeting with the date and time that we could then post into those town groups. If I can come up with something like that today, maybe if you want to post into Berlin, I can post into Boylston, and we can send it out to the rest of the committee should they want to post or share with or within their own networks as well to encourage participation in that. Maybe we want Jeff to put it in his newsletter this week.
We could ask that. That would be good. Yeah, because so let's see the calendar. It's what, 2 weeks from now is the meeting. Yeah, today's what, the 24th. So next week's the 31st. Yeah, so there'll be 2 Fridays between now and the next meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say if we can put it in this one, we ask him to.
Yeah, because he's not doing it every week now. So he didn't do it last week, so I'm guessing it's this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to make that request? Do you want me to?
Give me a second. I'll do it right now.
All right.
That Okay, so during our elections committee meeting this morning, Mike and I are discussing the open forum Q&A session that we'd like to have on the agenda for the 4-5 meeting. Can you please plan for 20 to 30 minutes at the top of that agenda, during which the public will be invited to ask questions about the election and the role of the committee, and members will respond. And members of the committee will respond. Kind of different from the typical public comment period we have, Mike, right? And that we're expecting it.
Yeah,
We're going to answer their questions in this kind of setting.
right. Yeah.
Also, we're going to plan each.
I think we'd start the session by just giving a brief update about what we just talked about, right? The Secretary of State responded, confirmed, we're on the ballot. It's going to happen November. Papers will be available, we assume, in the next few weeks, something like that, and then open it up to questions and any question they want about the election or serving, whatever it happens to be.
So also, we're going to plan to each individually post information about this open forum across our personal networks, and we'll also provide a graphic that other committee members of the committee can share themselves. Plan to. And then the other question here, Christy. Can we about this? Looks good to me. Anything else?
I would take out that word personal. We don't want to seem like we're not doing it publicly. I would just say across public networks, maybe.
Forum across channels.
Social media channels. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Go. Okay. Anything else?
No, I think we'll see what people have to say about it, but give them a brief update as we would anyway, and then ask the questions. And yeah, it's not going to be the typical comment because we will be responding, but that's good. I think it's good.
Maybe someone from Berlin will show up and also raise their hand that night to join the committee because we've got an open spot too.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose. We want to. I don't know that they could join on the spot, but yeah, they could put their stuff in for sure.
Either way. So okay.
Sounds good.
Thank you very much, Mike. I'll adjourn the meeting. Motion to adjourn, 9:26. Good to you. Adjourned.
Adjourned. Agreed.
Done. Okay, cool.